Hey everybody, Ben here from DMC Films and Cinderblock Studios, and welcome back to the Principles of Design, Part 3. Today we're talking about emphasis. So in short, emphasis is catching the viewer's attention with some sort of visual element. No, not something like that! When I say visual element, we're looking at some form of, usually the elements of design, to draw out a viewer's attention with visual contrast. Something like line, value, color, size, and texture to just really kind of draw your eye into a piece. A good way to think about a section of emphasis is to close your eyes, and when you open your eyes, the first thing you see in a piece, that is your point of emphasis. So why exactly is emphasis important? Emphasis will show the art critic your understanding of atmospheric perspective. Emphasis also builds more interesting compositions. And understanding emphasis will give you the foundation to understand movement, which we'll talk about in the next video in this series. So we've talked about why it's important, but let's take a look at a few examples. Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper is a great way to understand how line and perspective is a great part of emphasis. Both visually and somewhat spiritually, all of the lines in the piece, including those of the eyes of all of the people, are all sort of on that same level, leading towards Christ. So when you look at the perspective lines in this piece, literally everything points towards that center, and everything else, including your eye, is led to that section. Additionally, the windows and the light behind him also add that extra bit of contrast and emphasis, because it gives you something directly to look at right away. It's very bright right there. So your eye is immediately led directly to the center. Jacques-Louis David's Ode to Horace is another really great piece when talking about both color and line emphasis. The central figure here is wearing a red cloak, and while you do get a little bit of red in the guards on the left, their hands are pointing you directly back to the swords where the figure is holding. Everything is sort of pointed in to where that main figure is, and that use of the red color over top of a darker backdrop really kind of leads your eye in. My final example is Edgar Degas' The Bellelli Family. This one is probably the best use of both value and color emphasis here, because everything's very sort of simple and drab around the two girls, but those bright white sections of the dress really kind of catch your eye and draw it in. This is a great example of color emphasis. So I hope these given examples have shown you a little bit more of what emphasis is in a composition. In the next video, when we talk about movement, we'll talk about emphasis a little bit more and how that single focal point will lead the eye around the piece. Remember, throughout the course of this series, if you ever get lost along the way, feel free to check the link in the description box below to take you to the Elements and Principles of Design playlist so you can watch through the series in its entirety. And as always, for more tips, tutorials, and other art videos, subscribe to the channel for more. This has been from DMC Films and Cinderblock Studios. See you guys next time.